going to be honest, romance films are probably my least favorite genre of film. That's not to say there aren't a lot I love, I just find that most of them are too cliched without realizing it, and a lot just tell the exact same kind of story with little variety. Those that stand out from the crowd are often the ones I gravitate more towards, like 500 Days of Summer, Crazy Rich Asians, Love, Simon, and now, Friends with Benefits. Friends with Benefits was directed by Will Gluck and stars Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis and tells the story of two friends that are both done with a dating life and decide to enter into a Friends with Benefits situation with one another. What follows is a surprisingly charming romantic comedy that I'm really surprised isn't talked about more. These days, most romantic comedies are relegated to streaming services, with Netflix being the crowning example of making average to kissing booth types of rom-coms. Most are bland, unoriginal, you could switch out different cast members for different ones with nothing that need to be changed, and yet somehow they keep making more. It honestly drives me insane how few good and original rom-coms are made these days. They all feel like they're the same thing, just with a different cast and location attached. Now, I understand these kinds of films are loved by a lot of people and offer nice escapism, and there's nothing wrong with that. For me though, I'd rather get a rom-com that tries to do something different instead of hoping the charm of the actors can disguise how bare the script is. I think that's why I like Friends with Benefits so much. Most rom-coms can be stories like star-crossed lovers, geek to hot, lying about who they are, pretending to be in love only to end up falling in love, but less often you get stories like this. From the get-go, we learn our leads don't want to have a romantic relationship with one another and just want sex with the friendship. While you can guess where the plot's going to go, it feels more natural and believable than a lot of the story types I listed before. While some people are able to have this kind of relationship and nothing changes, a lot of people try doing this until one eventually falls for the other. You become a lot closer with the other person, and the more it happens, the more you begin to discover your true feelings for them. It's how you act on these feelings that ultimately decide the fate of the relationship. That's what this film gets right in my book. While it can hit a few cliches towards the end, I feel like how it explored their relationship throughout the film was believable and very natural. A lot of the success of this film has to do with its leads. Timberlake and Kunis have stupidly good chemistry with one another. They're both incredibly charming and both have fantastic comedic timing, and I'm honestly surprised they haven't started more movies together. While a lot of rom-coms can have interchangeable leads, I feel like if you swapped out either actor here, it'd be a very different movie. Whether the scene be comedic or heartfelt, you always feel this strong connection between the two of them, and it sucks you even more into the film as it goes on. Another aspect of the film that I both enjoyed but wished they played out a bit more with was making fun of romantic movie tropes. This isn't a satire of romantic films, but with how the story is and the way certain events unfold, it seems like it could have been at one point. I think if the film went even further with making fun of the tropes, that could have been something to help this film stick out even more. If there's any problem I have with the movie, it's how it explores why our two leads don't want to date. We learn stuff about their parents in the film, and we ultimately find out that's why they don't want to date, but it feels like it was almost an afterthought. There's not enough focus on these elements to make them stick out and make you go, oh, now I get it. Instead, it can make the film feel tonally confused at certain moments and make you wonder why they even had these elements in the first place. Had more focus and time been dedicated to it and allowed the film to really explore it, I think it could have really benefited the film. Also, it seems odd to me that a rom-com set in New York doesn't really use it to the film's advantage. It makes a big deal in the beginning about Timberlake moving to New York, but after that, it's just another location. I find the best kind of rom-com set in New York use the city to help build a love between the two characters. It's such a rich and huge place that there's so many possibilities, and it oddly feels wasted here. It's not a problem with the film, but I just wish that they had done more with it. I honestly feel bad for Will Gluck. While compared to other rom-coms, this did pretty good. It feels like he's relegating himself off now to only making kids films, and I think that's a big waste of his talents. With this and Easy A, he's shown that he has unique stories and takes on romance films, and I wish he would go back to making more films like this. There's so many forgettable romance films released these days, to the point where it feels like Netflix replaces them each week with a new one, that we need to get filmmakers to actually want to tell different stories in the romance genre to make it feel fresh again. Friends with Benefits is one of those romantic comedies that honestly feels fresh, and it's a damn shame it's not talked about that much. The leads are terrific, the story can be very funny, and there's a surprising amount of heart to it that it makes me forgive the faults and cliches that can happen in the narrative. If you're looking for a rom-com that can actually stand out, I think this might be the one for you.